First of all, can I say thank you to the organisers for inviting me this afternoon to tell you a bit about our best practice. I just want to make a disclaimer. So I'm from the Royal Veterinary College, but I'm not a vet. Okay, so over lunch, please don't ask me to talk about your pet cat. Oh, sure. But I want to tell you, and the Royal Veterinary College is quite interesting in terms of why we went for Advanced Accreditation, and if I can get this to work. So that's me. I can't just spend literally 1 minute, and I realize I've only got 5, but this slide is quite important. And I'm more than happy to discuss this at lunchtime. So the Royal Veterinary College is the oldest institute in the UK and indeed in Europe in studying veterinary medicine. But around sort of late 90s and 2000s, there was a report that came up called a Sulfur report that recognised the importance of actually sort of bioveterinary sciences. And then it asked all the sort of vet institutes, and there are only really about 6 or 7 of those that teach veterinary medicine, the idea of getting more vets into research. And that's one of the major concerns government had around that time. And so the Royal Veterinary College felt it was quite important, therefore, to actually develop a sort of biological bioveterinary science program. So our course is actually we started it in sort of the 2002, which meant to a certain degree we kind of had sort of a bit of a carte blanche on what we were actually going to develop. And so here are the various courses that we developed that we're really grateful that have received an advanced accreditation. And the idea really then of having sort of carte blanche on sort of developing a bioscience course meant that we could sort of decide what we wanted to put in. What do we think students, particularly the millennium generation, what do they actually want from a biological science course? And one of the ideas we thought is that is to, particularly in our sort of 3rd year, is to try and develop modules that really are trying to reflect sort of the diverse nature of both biology, but also we were really keen on the idea, and you see it's the top one, around sort of entrepreneurship and sort of bio-business. And we sort of really focused on that because we thought that would be quite an important area to develop. And more importantly, the idea of having modules where we could combine not just with the with our own institute, but also with the King's College, London. So what we could offer our students is not just their sort of modules in-house, but also have the experience of actually going to our institute. We felt that was sort of quite important. And it was when we put ourselves forward for the Advanced Accreditation, we were one of the early ones. This was one of the points of best practice that the committee noted. And I'll just tell you in the last couple of minutes a bit about this program. So the whole idea of sort of advanced biobusiness was that we really wanted to develop students to actually think about the whole idea of biotech companies. And one of the ideas behind that was we felt that, particularly in UK science, there's always been not a prejudice, but the whole idea that academia and sort of business or industry, as it was seen, are kind of viewed as separate. And we actually thought there's actually quite a lot of work that we can do with industry, and particularly with offering students a sandwich placement. And we thought it was really important, therefore, that students get an idea of how, in terms of technology, and more importantly, what's happened recently in the north of London, this so-called London Technology Network, which was a sort of a hub of various sort of organisations, such as the Royal Veterinary College, Bloomsbury Consortium, Google, Guardian, which are around King's Cross, about sort of to develop the whole idea of entrepreneurship and sort of businesses. And what was the real driver for us is on the next slide. Is this. Literally next door to the Royal Veterinary College was one of the very first sort of bio-incubators It's literally, when I say next door, it is actually next door. We're number 4, they are number 2. And basically, what we found was they were using our canteen. So, and we got talking. And we said, well, look, I tell you what, we'd actually like some of our students to spend a bit of time with you. And also, they were actually quite interested in, well, if we can do that, we'd also like to get involved with your teaching. The whole concept of what's referred to as corporate responsibility. Are there ways that the corporates can actually give back? So, through discussions, we then developed this course. And what this module is about is, and why the students really like it, is that most of these are scientists who are actually setting up their sort of biotech companies. These are PhDs or these are postdocs who've really got some sort of really jazzy and some really funky ideas. And more importantly, which I think the students quite like, I must say, is that they're not necessarily academics, which might be interesting. So they're not gone through the traditional routes of going PhDs and getting taught, etc., etc. These are sort of really young upstarts. And so they're really keen and enthusiastic to talk about their business, to talk about how to generate income, etc. And so what we find from our students is that there's very much an interactive process that occurs. And currently, we've got about 150 students, and about now 20 or more students are actually doing this module. It's become incredibly popular. And in particular is the assessment. And the idea of the assessment is that there are the traditional examination process, but a really important part of the assessment is getting students to work in groups to actually develop a bioproduct. And the assessment is very much like a dragon's den. So what's really important about that is that in terms of the assessors, it includes both academics, but also sort of venture capitalists that are actually part of the assessment program. And the interesting thing I must say is the students have to write a business plan and they have to do an oral presentation. But the other caveat, not caveat, but what's quite interesting is we say to the students, when you're actually about to present your business plan, we want you to dress smartly. And they actually all come in suits or well immaculate. So they actually take that seriously. And a few of the staff who are not involved in the assessment actually come in to actually see how that process is done. And it's very much sort of like a dragon's den. And I think the students really engage in that process. They get feedback, etc. And that's a really different and a novel approach in terms of the assessment. And I think students really engage in that process quite well. So what has been a success? So this program, like I said, started off in 2002. 1 minute, thank you very much. So here's one example. And this is a young man who, in fact, was doing our combined degree. Was actually, first of all, going to do a BSc and then subsequently convert that into doing veterinary medicine. When he actually did the program, and in his third year did the Advanced Concept in Biosciences, decided to drop veterinary medicine and actually concentrate on further pursuing his career into the biotechnology field. He actually ended up doing a master's at Cambridge and subsequently earns more money than me. Rather depressing. So I'm going to stop there because Robert's looking at me even more tentatively than when we were doing accreditation together. So I'll stop and I'd like to give my thanks and I'm more than happy to take questions. Okay, thank you very much.